Uncle Buck, Dog, Too Cool's mom, Too Cool, Roberto. Chapter 1, Too Cool Ranch. Uncle Buck was coming to the Too Cool Ranch for the weekend. Roberto was also spending the night. He'd heard about Uncle Buck. Uncle Buck was the greatest. He lived on a cattle ranch out west. When Uncle Buck arrived, he shook my hand. "Howdy, partner," he said. He squashed my hand like it was made of jelly. "It's a good thing I'm so strong." Roberto put his hands in his pockets. Uncle Buck stood as tall as a tree. His shoulders hardly fit through the doorway. His hands were as rough as sandpaper. Uncle Buck was a real cowboy. You could tell by the way he talked. "Too cool, have you been standing in a bucket of manure?" said Uncle Buck. "You've grown. Do people smell bad as they get older?" "This is Roberto," I said. "Howdy, Roberto," said Uncle Buck. He slapped Roberto on the back. Roberto nearly ended up in the next state. "What are we doing this weekend?" I asked. Uncle Buck always had good ideas. "Boys," he said, "this weekend you're in for a treat. I'm going to teach you how to be cowboys." Chapter 2, Howdy, Cowboy. At Too Cool Ranch, Bert the rooster was our alarm clock. Roberto and I got up early and washed in the horse through just like the cowboys on TV. After breakfast, we had our first cowboy lesson in the backyard. Uncle Buck got out his whip and snapped it in the air. It made an explosive cracking sound. "Wow," said Roberto. "Now you try," said Uncle Buck. Roberto and I took turns with the whip until we knocked over Mom's potted plants. "Buck, how many times have I told you about that whip?" Mom was the boss of this ranch. Uncle Buck took the whip back. He gave Roberto and me each a rope. The end of the rope was tied into a large loop. "What's that? What's this?" asked Roberto. "A lasso," said Uncle Buck. He twirled the rope around his head. He threw the rope at some fence posts. I twirled the rope around my head. I was a natural. I was cowboy too cool. I'd taken to cowboy life like a fly to a cow pie. You boys need to practice to get the feel for it. "I'll check on you later," said Uncle Buck. Roberto and I practiced for this for hours. Finally, I left Roberto to the fence post. I was ready for the real thing. In the back corral of the Too Cool Ranch was a bull, a wild bull. Now I was ready for him. Chapter 3, Lasso Power. Roberto rushed after me as I eyed the bull. "Don't do it, Too Cool. He'll rip you to pieces. There isn't a bull on this planet that could scare me," I said. I threw the lasso into the air. I twirled it. The bull pawed the ground. "You're wearing red," shouted Roberto. That'll just make him wild." "Maybe it will," I said, twirling the lasso, and maybe it won't." I threw the lasso. The bull ducked his head. He lowered his horns. "Look out," shouted Roberto. I twirled the lasso again. It flew into the air. It landed neatly over the bull's head. The bull snorted. He tried to duck out of the lasso. He tried to spear me with his horns. I hung on. We both crashed to the ground. Uncle Buck was back to check out our lasso work. "You've caught yourself a mean one there," he said. The bull lay down on the ground. Obviously, he had fainted from the terror of facing Cowboy Too Cool. "Too Cool, it's one thing to bring down a bull," said Uncle Buck, "but have you ever ridden one?" I shook my head. "Time for the Too Cool Ranch Rodeo Championship," said Uncle Buck. "There's a prize for the winner." "Yee-haw!" shouted Roberto. I didn't know why he was so happy. I was going to win the prize. Chapter 4: Bucking Broncos. After lunch, I changed into my rodeo gear. "Gee, Roberto, I reckon I could get a part in a cowboy movie," I said. "Too cool, the only part you could get is in a horror movie. You could play the monster." I ignored him. Roberto must be worried about riding a bucking bull. A quick look in the mirror proved I was the best looking cowboy ever. The farmhands had come to watch the show. They sat on the corral and cheered when they saw us. Uncle Buck led a large bull into the chute. It was the meanest, wildest bull I'd ever seen. Roberto won the toss and chose to ride first. "You've gotta ride him like for 8 seconds to make it count," said Uncle Buck. Roberto nodded. The bull snorted, kicking and bucking. Roberto held on with all his might. The bull twirled. Roberto held on. Finally, the bull bucked extra hard and Roberto flew off his back. The farmhands cheered as Roberto hit the ground. Roberto got up and rubbed his bruises. "Too cool, I think I won the rodeo championship with that ride," said Roberto. "I'd see about that." My bull was really mad. I had trouble just getting on his back. The farm the farmhands fell silent. They knew they were about to see the greatest rodeo rider in the world. I gave the nod. Chapter 5: Sitting Tight. Instead of bouncing and bucking, the bull stood still in the middle of the pen. How could I win the rodeo championship if the bull wouldn't move? Dog came to my rescue. He raced into the pen, barked at the bull. The bull began to buck. He was doing his best to throw me off. Good thing I am so strong. So I needed to stay on for another 3 seconds. The farmhands were cheering, "Too cool, too cool. You're the greatest." I was concentrating so hard I almost didn't hear them. Uncle Buck yelled, "Time's up." The bull must have heard him. He gave a mighty final buck. I went straight over his head. Splash! I landed in the horse threw. And the horse throw? Well, now Tuku and Roberto, you're both officially honest to goodness cowboys, said Uncle Buck. So who won the contest? Asked Roberto. Uncle Buck thought it was a tie. There's no championship winner this ride, he said. I'll just have to take both you cowboys out for ice cream. He winked at me. I knew that wink meant that I was really the best. In my diary that night, I wrote Tuku won the rodeo championship today, and his best friend Roberto came in a close second. I was getting pretty famous. There was probably no one on earth who didn't know me by now. You'd have to be an alien from outer space not to have heard of the famous Tuku, the end.